Hey, so we are still moving right along through Genesis, first book of the Bible, and we are at chapter 29. I'm going to cover verses 1 through 14 in this video, and then I am going to close out the chapter in the next video. Just want to break it up so we can focus on two important themes kind of in each different segment. So for this one, we're going to just dive right into this. We remember where we left Jacob off in the earlier stories, where Jacob had worked with his mother, went along with her plan, and tricked his father into giving him the blessing that he meant to give to his brother Esau. Esau, of course, finds out about this and is livid. And because he is so mad, he is determined that he is going to murder his brother. He's going to kill him when he see him, but he's not going to touch him until his father passes. So out of respect for his father, as long as his father lives, his brother is safe. He's planning to hold this grudge for a long time and be mad and angry enough to harm his brother going forward. And what happens is his mother, instead of saying, hey, it was me that kind of orchestrated all this foolishness, she says, let's send him away so that he can find a wife. And so they go out, he gets a blessing, he gets sent on his way, and along the way, he has an encounter with God. And God is like, look, I get that all this stuff has been going on. It's been so many different things that have been foolish in your life. And what I want for you is to trust me, and I'm going to take care of you. And it doesn't matter what anybody else did. It doesn't matter what happened. I'm letting all that past go. Walk with me at this point, and I'm going to take care of you. And Jacob agrees and says to God, I understand, I hear you, and I am not going to make any more decisions on my own. I am going to make sure that I follow you and I follow the rules that you've given me, and I'm going to worship you as long as you're the God of your word and you do what you told me you were going to do. So after this, he continues the journey on, and we see that in Genesis 29, still first book of the Bible, we're going to start off in verse 1, that he continues to travel and gets to a particular land. And we see in verse 2 that there is a well in the middle of the field, and there are sheep are up there, and all the flocks are being watered or need to be watered. And there's a big stone that's sitting on the mouth of this well. And the stone on this well is designed to keep outside and foreign substances and animals and people out of this well, to protect it. And everybody is kind of gathering around waiting, because at one point they're all going to move this stone from this well. They're going to water their flocks, and then they're going to put the stone back. But they don't want to do it 110 different times a day. So they leave it on their way. So everybody's there, and then they come in and they are going to work together to get it done. So while they're waiting and this kind of collection of people are there, Jacob asks, where am I, pretty much? Like, where are we? Because I need to know. I'm trying to get to a place. I'm just trying to check my directions. And so they answer him and tell him that he's in Haran. And he's like, well, if I'm in Haran, then my uncle Laban should be here. Do you know him? And they're like, yeah, we know him. Laban is here. You made it to the right place if that's what you're looking for. And so he asks a third question. Is it well with him? Is he okay? Is he fine? Is he alive? Is he, does he have the resources for me to be able to come in and see him? Is everything okay with him? And they're like, yeah, he's good. He's fine. He has a daughter, Rachel, who's like on her way here. She's right down there, and she's coming with the flock from her father. And so she's coming. And so he's like, so the men are like, hey, it's broad daylight. Is people are still gathering here. Not everybody's here yet. And so we're not going to move this stone so that she can water her sheep. We're going to wait till everybody gets here together and do it all at once. And so in verse 9, it says, while he was speaking to them. So while they have this conversation going on about his uncle Laban, about what land he's in, about how they plan to water these sheep, about this stone that's sitting over top of the mouth of this well, while this conversation is going on, Rachel approaches, and it says something very important in verse 9. Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. Y'all, for she kept them. What that means is she is a shepherd. It's her job to take care of the sheep. This is typically a masculine job. This is typically something that men do. And Rachel is a person who has this job. When we hear a lot of times about women in the Bible and how they do this or do that or don't do this or don't do that, and there's masculine roles and feminine roles, it really depended on who your father was and the situation you were in. Because we see right here in Genesis, still first book of the Bible, this woman has a man's profession. This woman is something that we've been told and taught for a long time is something that men do, and it says that she kept them. It was recorded. God wrote it down that women were not pigeonholed in the way that we thought that they were, in the way that we've been taught for so many years. God said, write this down so that people will know. So make sure you make a note of that. So in verse 10, Jacob sees Rachel, and he sees the sheep that she's caring for. And so he moves the stone. He was like, "Hey, y'all don't have to wait. I'm gonna take care of this. This is my cousin right here. This is my uncle. This is my uncle's property. This is my family, and I'm gonna make sure they taken care of. Y'all do what y'all want to do, but I'm gonna make sure she's good." And so he moves the stone out of the way so that the sheep can be watered, so that everybody can get what they need. And then it says in verse 11 that Jacob kissed Rachel and wept aloud. He did not go up to this woman and kiss her passionately like they in love. We know how the story ends. At this point, they just met. That's not the situation. When it says that he kissed her, it literally is a greeting. It is a way that he came to her and said, "Hello, I'm your cousin. It's good to see you." The same way you would kiss your auntie, your cousin, your uncle, your grandma at a family reunion. This is what he gave her. And he wept. One, because he's been traveling for a long time and he finally found family. He finally made it to the place. This right here is him realizing one of the promises that God gave him. God said, "I'm going to bring you there and I'm going to bring you back home." And this is him getting there. This is him realizing that God is actually doing the thing that he said he was going to do. This is him realizing that God promised him something and is starting to deliver on the promise already. All he had to do was make it there, was for the first step, and he's done that. And so it says in verse 12, Jacob tells Rachel the relation. He done kissed her, he done hugged her, he done like, "Oh, cousin, I'm so happy to see you." And then he's like, "No, here's how I'm your cousin. You know, your dad and my mom are brother and sister, and my mom told me to come here." And so she is excited because this means that they have news from his mother. Because remember when Rebecca left a few chapters ago, it was a very sudden thing. The servant came, he picked her out, she agreed to go, and they left. It wasn't a long amount of time that she got to spend with her family to say goodbye. They don't have cell phones. They're not out here writing letters every day, so there's not a lot of conversation and communication between them. So this is great news to see that after all these years, I am meeting the nephew I never got to see. And so she runs and goes to get her dad and tells him that her aunt's son is here. She's like, "Look, my cousin Jacob is here, and it's cool." And so Laban hears the news about his sister's son. He runs out to meet him. He is excited to see him. This is a whole family reunion right here. He did embraced him and kissed him. See how he kissed him? It's a greeting. It wasn't anything untoward. It wasn't anything, and anything sexual or sensual about the kiss between Jacob and Rachel, and it wasn't one about the kiss between Laban and Jacob. They are family, and it's a kiss like you give your grandmama a kiss. And so he brings him to the house, and Jacob runs down the story. He tells him how he found him. He tells him about how he watered the sheep. He tells him about his mother sending him out. He gives him all of this information, and he tells him about everything that's been going on in his life. And he catches him up. "Oh, my mama's good. Oh, she looks like this. Oh, it's twins. It's two of us." Like, he tells him his story. He kind of gives him an update on the family since she's been away. And Laban says, "Surely you are my bone and my flesh." He says, you after talking to him, he's like, "You know what? I know for certain you're not faking this. You didn't just come make this up and come to my house. You are absolutely my family. We got the same blood. You blood, friend. You're my bone. You're my flesh and blood." Like, he's definitely saying that you are absolutely my family. I hear it in your voice. I see it in your face. You look like your mama, and I'm excited to see you. Like, that's what's happening here. So they have this whole reunion. I'm gonna pause there because I want to talk about the next part kind of separately so that we can divest and digest all of that. So, for this, a quick recap: Jacob is finishing out his journey. He continues to walk until he finds a place where there is a well in a field with a stone over it. And so he goes over there. He is going to water. He sees people ready to water their flock. He asks them where they are. And as he's waiting and as he's getting these questions answered, he asks about his uncle. Did I make it to Haran? Is Laban here? My mom sent me away to find him. And they're like, yeah, his daughter Rachel is coming. And Rachel is a shepherd. Rachel comes with the sheep that she keeps for her father. This is not, this is not an inexperienced woman who's just out here hoping that she's going to be able to look up on some water. This is a woman who is not coming to the well to draw water to take back to the house. She is coming with her sheep the same way the shepherds have come. And when he sees her and recognizes her as family, he moves that stone, waters her sheep, and talks to her. He hugs her, kisses her, and is like, I'm so happy to see you. I have been traveling for a distance to come here, and I am excited to finally meet you. I am your aunt's son. I am your father's sister's son. And she runs and tells her dad about it, and her dad comes out to meet him, and they embrace and they kiss and they have this whole big family reunion, and they come together and they stay together. And Laban invites Jacob to stay at his house. Hey, nephew, come on to the house. I want you to sit down, get comfortable, rest yourself. You've been traveling. Your mom sent you here, and I want you to come and just be among family. Don't worry about work. Don't worry about anything else. Just come and rest yourself and get yourself together and be with family. And so that's where we're going to leave off today. What I want us to do is make sure that we are looking at what we consider women's work and men's work, and understanding that God has recorded how women moved. Not everybody had the same story. Not everybody had the same lifestyle. Not everything was what we were taught that it was. So let's open our minds and expand our horizons. And the other thing I want to take away: when God makes you a promise, you don't have to wait until the whole promise has been revealed. You can be excited and celebrate and love God for the portion that you got. In this portion, him meeting his family was proof. When God said, I'm going to take you there and I'm going to bring you back, it's proof that God brought him there. And so even though he wasn't on his way back home yet, even though things weren't made better between him and his brother, even though he didn't have the wealth and the people and all the other things that he was promised, he made it there. And so that was the start of God's promise. So when God promised you something really, really big, thank him for the start. So Lord, I thank you for the start. I thank you for the beginning of this thing. And I thank you for the beginning of the things in everybody else's lives. I am so grateful. You guys, I want you to just be grateful. Just be grateful and be blessed.